When you get down with the music behind the music, you will be inspired to think higher, realize your gifts. Join the music and Michelle Gina. Turn this up and through your speakers. It's the music of music.
And a happy new year to you all. We are the Muses Behind the Music. I am your host, Michelle Fallon. Thank you all so very much for being with us this evening. I don't think I had the opportunity to give you all my New Year's Day greeting. It ain't a big deal. It's simply, may you be blessed and prosper in 2023 and do the things that you needed to do. Hopefully you didn't wait until the clock struck to begin the process of whatever it is that you plan on resolving for this year. Just be consistent in whatever it is that you do so that you'll actually reap the benefits of those things. My word to you. All right, tonight, will you do me a favor and go ahead and like, share, love, whatever else you need to do. I have a dynamite guest coming on. I love the fact that what she is doing is so very unconventional. I probably shouldn't use the word very, because there are people who are out here who are doing this thing in their own way, in their unique style. But I love it because, you know, the world always tells you that you have to go about doing things and getting things in a particular manner. And she says, no. And when we talk to her to see how the Creator has just completely continuing to bless her and open up doors of opportunity in this field that she is reaping provisions and opportunities. And I just think it's awesome. So we are having Sister Maria Ellis. I'm going to ask her later on about getting that doctor in front of her name, if that's something that she's interested in. We'll see, because I tell people all the time, the only time I'm going to have doctor is when you all bless me with an honorary doctor. So go on ahead and like, subscribe, love, invite somebody, share what's going on here, because you don't want to miss out on this conversation, especially for all of you young sisters who desire to be in the industry. And maybe you see yourself as being a conductor, being an arts management, being a pianist, an instrumentalist in some fashion, a singer, whatever it is. This conversation, I believe, is for you and for everybody else. Maria Ellis is an educator and a conductor. She's the owner of Girl Conductor, LLC. That's when I first got hip to who she was. I checked out some other female conductors and I said, who is this sister with this Girl Conductor thing? I love it. And it is definitely sprouting its wings. The company creates diverse music education resources and currently serves as the director of the Sheldon's City of Music All-Star Chorus. Maria is an active clinician, adjudicator, presenter throughout the U.S. and abroad. She holds a BM in music ed, emphasis on voice, a degree from the University of Missouri in St. Louis. She's a K through 12 certified educator. She has served as the Arts Administrative Fellow for the St. Louis Children's Choir. And she is the host of the award-winning show, Bach and Beyonce. Now, how we get those two very different perspectives and link them into one, I need her to talk about that too. I would have never put Bach and Beyonce together, but I'm also going to say that she's probably an ethnomusicologist if she's doing all of that. She is that host, and she's an active member of ACDA, which is the American Choral Directors Association, the National Association of Music Educators, Missouri Alliance for Arts Education, where she is the chair of the RIDE, Race, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Committee, and holds level 3 certification from the CME Institute for Choral Teacher Education. Maria is the wife of Marion Ellis and mother of 3 absolutely beautiful children. Aria, Kendall, and Noah. Love the names. Come on, y'all. Put your hands together. And will you help me welcome sister friend Maria Ellis? Hey! How you doing, girl?
I'm so excited to be on here with you. Thank you so
I'm
much.
grateful for you to be able to do this. I really am. Thank you for your presence and what it is you're about to pour into the minds and the ears of our listeners and viewers tonight. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
My honor. It's my honor.
Listen, I'm gonna honor you with those earrings because that's what I call the New York earrings.
Look,
Yeah,
I wanted to represent you.
and I thank you. And all my fellow New Yorkers out there, thank you too. And I love, and the hat is fly too. Just fly. Loving
Thank
it. Loving it. Tell us about you because there might be many people who are listening and watching in tonight who don't know who you are. Give us this synopsis of Maria.
Okay, well, Maria is a church girl. Okay, so
Okay.
I grew up in the apostolic church and fell in love with music.
Mhm.
My father has 8 siblings, and they had a music group growing up, but they were Methodists.
Okay.
So the family was perfect because they had 2 sopranos, 2 altos, 2 tenors, 2 bass, and one person who couldn't sing, but they just stuck him in the bass section.
Look at that.
You
Yeah,
know,
you can make those sounds, you're good to go.
there you good to go. As long as you can mouth the words, you are in. You
Right,
know. And
right.
so I grew up like listening to them sing and trying to mimic my aunt's voices.
Hmm.
And then my mother was and still is church choir president. And so she drug all 4 of her children to choir rehearsal. And I learned very early that I could hear parts. So I could always tell what part was wrong. And I thought everybody could do that. Like I just couldn't understand why people would sing the wrong notes. Well, why can't you just hear your right part? And so my sister and I would listen to the radio, and we would call the gospel station and we would say, "Hey, can you play How Excellent and don't talk over it so we can record it?" And we would listen to it and try to learn the part so then we could go teach it to the youth choir at church. And so that's where my love for music came from.
I need you to know that you dated yourself and us by talking
100%.
about calling up a radio station because ain't nobody do that today. We don't have that today, calling a radio station. I remember doing that very same thing and making my requests known for everything, you
And
know.
don't
So
talk so I can record the song.
I didn't do that part, but hey.
Well, because if they talk over the whole song, that's a section you can't hear. And we didn't have we was like, oh, shoot, my sister and I, we probably like 10,
Yeah.
10 and 12. So we didn't have no money to go buy a whole CD or, I mean, I guess at that time, a cassette.
That's right. Cassette tapes were in it. We're in it. So was this I know that I'm going into music. There's nothing else for me, or was there something other than music?
So my loves were music and theater.
Mm,
Love theater. I've always been a theater kid. And but music was always, I guess, my calling because after when I turned about 12, when I started directing the choir for real, then I was like, this is what I want to do. And
mm,
so I sang in every choir possible. And when I was in high school, I told my choir director, I said, I want a job where I can direct choir full time. And she was like, I don't really know what to tell you. She's like, you can be a teacher. And I was like, that's not my calling. She was like, yeah,
right.
I knew that. And she was like, well, I don't really know what to tell you. And I was like, well, okay. So I just didn't, she couldn't put me on the path. So
Mm,
I went and studied business and worked for AT&T for
okay.
a number of years. And then so we're going to fast forward some years, my pastor wanted to revive our children's choir. Well, revamp it rather. I said that way. Revamp our children's choir. And he told me, he's like, here, it's on you. And I was like, all right, let's go. And then I just fell in love with it again. And I had 50 kids, ages 2 to 12.
Wow.
One of the 2-year-olds was mine. And we would have so much fun just singing, and I would just make up songs for them. I taught the kids how to spell their names via songs. I just loved it.
Yeah.
And so I told my husband, I said, I want to quit and do this full time, but I got to go back to school. And he was like, "Girl, we got kids." I said, no,
Thank you. We can't afford all of that, right? No,
not
that's
yet.
real. That's real.
So the next year, the job was laying off, and if they laid off, if you got laid off, they pay for 2 years for you to go back to school. So even though I was safe, I went back to my husband. I said, "Do you think they'll lay me off and I give my job to somebody else so I can go to school?"
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Yeah." And so um, signed paperwork to get laid off, and went and auditioned and did not make it. Did not get accepted because I couldn't read music.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Okay. Can we just sit there for a second? But first, before we sit there for a second, I don't know anybody who gets excited about getting laid off. All right. So I want y'all to see that there is this great depth of commitment that you had to becoming an excellent musician.
Well,
Like,
I
right?
knew that that's what I was supposed to do. Like you know how you just have that feeling like that's what you're supposed to do. And I always knew, even as a kid, the joy that directing gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can sing, right? But I'm not the best singer, right? I can hold my note, but I'm not, don't call me up for the solo. Let
Right.
me in the background. I got you. I got you.
Right.
So that's me. But I mean, but directing, to me, you can't out direct me. This is what I do.
Yeah.
This is the gift that I know God gave me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. So I remember, and we were scared because we cut our salary like in half. I made good money at AT&T.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to tell me. I know all them big old corporations. I get it. I
And
get it. And in comparison to an artist,
right.
hello.
And
Yeah.
people were telling me that they was like, ain't no money in that. And I was like,
Mm.
to me, I was like, good, God got me. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah.
My life is favored. I'm not worried about that at all. So I go audition. I didn't get in because I couldn't sight read. And so I left devastated because I was like, what am I gonna do? I just signed away my job that pays all this good money. So I don't have this job anymore. I can't get into this school. The plan is not working, right?
Yeah.
And so I called my friend. He had just graduated with his music degree. I called him and I'm like, I didn't get into the program. And he was like, quit crying. And he was like, we gonna work. He said, we got the summer to work. And I said, okay. And so we worked. And Michelle, when I tell you, we was learning like basic stuff because this stuff I was never taught in school. So we were learning like I knew lines and spaces, treble
Yeah.
clef, yes. Bass clef, no, never learned that.
Right.
I knew whole notes, quarters, but to put it on a scale and count it and read it, I never learned that. I knew solfege, but I didn't know how to read. I was just never taught. And so we come back in August, re-audition, I get in, and I feel dumb, right?
I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Real.
I'm older, so
Mm-hmm.
I was 31.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm somebody's mama sitting next to somebody 18.
Right.
You know
Right.
how that is. Luckily I look young that I could pass,
Okay. But
but
still.
still, I'm somebody mama. And so it was very humbling because I'm not used educationally. I was in gifted programs. I was the tutor. I
Yeah.
was not used to being tutored. I was the
Yeah.
tutor.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So that was very humbling. But I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna figure it out. And it was hard. And I struggled and it was hard. But
Mm-hmm.
every time I can get with a study session, I went to every study session. We had a teacher. See, God had my back though.
Oh, always that.
Always. There was a teacher who had retired, and he would come up to the school, and he just fell in love with me, and he was like, Maria, I'll help you whichever way I can. And I would go to his house, and we would just work, and he would help me. The musicians at my church, I was at band rehearsal every week, every Saturday. They had band rehearsal. I went to band rehearsal every Saturday morning just so I can sit and I could learn.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the drive. And
yeah,
it's this is something that I share with my students all the time and anybody who I'm just talking to you. You can't teach drive. There's no way. You have it or you don't. You can inspire people to work a little bit, but there has to be something inside of you that says every single day, I'm getting up to do this thing. I need this thing. I need to accomplish. There has to be that thing in you, and that's the whole entire. You were speaking to so many people at the top of it that love to talk about, being an artist. This is why I discourage my children from being an artist, because there's too much of a struggle and so forth and so on. And but what I absolutely love is that you turn it around and you're like, I'm going to work at this thing. I don't care what you do in life. You have to be diligent to want that thing, and especially in the arts field. But
Yeah.
it doesn't negate any other field from it.
No, you have to work for the things that you say you want. I want it to be gospel music. Yes, I got it. Let's go.
Yeah.
But the Bach and the Beethovens and all them kind of people, I was like, I don't even know who these folks are. You
Right.
know, you see the pictures, but I didn't really know like the different styles of music and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know any of that. So I was a sponge and I absorbed everything. I sang every ensemble that I could sing in school. I sang in it. So I was in the a cappella ensemble. I was in the university singers. I did opera. I was in the jazz ensemble. I did everything. Anytime somebody was coming to teach, I was networking with those people. I was like, hey, can I come observe you teach? Can I come?
Yes.
Whatever it took, that's what I was doing because I wanted to be good at my craft. Now here's the blessing. They was only supposed to pay for 2 years for me to go to school.
Mm.
Somebody made a mistake somewhere. I'm gonna call it the favor of the Lord. They end up paying for all 4 years. So I went and got this degree for free.
Yeah, girl, there you go. There you go. I mean, ain't no mistake. Ain't no mistake. It was definitely the creator's favor. Absolutely. I mean, come on.
Come on.
Anybody ever call you up and say, hey, I think we made a mistake with that?
They was like, we don't know why we still paying. I was like, I don't know either. Favor of the Lord.
I've
Go ahead.
seen it happen
Go ahead.
way too many times. I've seen it happen. So fast forward, here you are. You're now doing this. I like the fact that you chose this route that was less conventional. I like that because, again, it can't be done unless you have the drive to get it done, right? And I think that that's an encouraging point. Your teacher at the beginning was, to me, probably in the old school realm of just tradition. No, if you want to be anything where you're dealing with a choir, you need to go to school and you need to get this degree and you need to do and A, B, and C. And it's almost like you said A, D. Let me come back to B a little bit. I'm going to jump over to G and I in that. But how, especially in this industry that we know as Black women, as women in general, conductors in European music, how do you find your voice?
Well, my teacher, my choir teacher, Dr. Henry, he said, Maria, what are you going to do when you leave? And I said, I'm not going to teach in a classroom.
Mhm.
Like that's not my calling. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to travel around the country, clinic and choirs and workshopping. That's what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
He said, I don't know anybody that's doing that. And I said, well, you just watch me. And that's what I'm going to do. I've always been a person I 100% believe that words have power.
Yes.
The things you want to do, you need to speak those things as they are. I 100% believe that. And I also believe you have to put yourself in position
Yes.
so those things can happen.
Absolutely.
So what I did, like I told you, I started networking from day one. So I did a lot of networking. Like anytime anybody came to the school, I got their information. I went to observe them. I followed them on Facebook. I commented about their dog or their cat or whatever, I just did things to keep my name relevant.
Present.
All I need is when somebody say Maria Ellis, you say, oh, I know her.
Correct.
She's a nice person. She's great. That's all I need. That's all I need. And I genuinely like people too. So that's another thing. I love people and I love talking to people. So I I did that, and then I started going to my state conferences. So our Missouri Music Educators Conference, our Missouri Choral Directors Association Conference. I started going to those, and I started looking for what was missing.
Hmm.
So there was sessions on. There was a jazz choir. There was a show choir. There was the classical choir, and I was like, "Where's the gospel choir?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that missing?" Um,
Yeah.
and so I started doing sessions on gospel music. I used social media. I would post what I did on social media. And I think that's where a lot of people got to know me from. I
Yeah.
think He Has Done Marvelous Things video.
I've
Um,
never seen that, but you know that I will now. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that video like really blew up. And I'm thinking to myself, this song is old
Oh,
as dirt.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, but I taught it and I added a bass part, and I mean, now people all over the world are
Yep.
singing "He Has Done Marvelous Things," which is
Okay. Ain't that crazy?
crazy. It's crazy.
I just think that I think that they want it. And okay, when I say the they, I am referring to our Caucasian brothers and sisters in this industry who are almost, from conversations that I have had with so many, nervous about performing music that is of the African American diaspora. And I would like us to get to this space where we feel comfortable in the same manner that if I've got to teach something by Fourier and have my students study it and work hard at with the understanding of the French language and the meaning of that particular piece of music, I need you to do the same when it comes to doing something like the Hawkins "Oh Happy Day," because there's much to be studied in there, and not afraid to dive into that particular thing. I'm assuming that Bach to Beyonce has levels that covers these scopes of work. I mean, they're just such opposites.
Well, I'll tell you where that came from. I was student teaching, um, and I had the freshman boys choir, and they had a classical piece, and they was like, "We don't want to sing this music, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I know like all kind of rappers sample from classical music," and they was like, "No, they don't." And I was like,
Right. They have no clue, right?
"Yes, they do." And so
Right.
I did this whole lesson. I was like, "Look, Diddy and
Hmm.
Migos and Nas." I said, "All these people sample classical music." And they was like, for real, for real. And I was like, yes. I said, y'all, you could take any genre of music and sample it into what you're doing,
Yep.
but you need to have knowledge of the different genres that you're working with. So you don't want to just pair any other thing together. You need to have some knowledge of how these chords work so you know what works well with this chord and da 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 da. And so um that next year I was asked to do a presentation. I was like, I'm gonna do a presentation on Bach and Beyonce because I took some of Beyonce's lyrics, and scored it out or whatnot.
Hmm.
And I was like, this looks just like some stuff that would come out of a Bach piece. The rhythms, the syncopation. I said,
Hmm.
so if you, for a person like me who doesn't come from the world of classical music, but you come from this hip hop world or you come from this gospel world, these things look more alike than they look different. So let me show you all how I can take this hip hop piece. We can learn it, sight read it. Then I said, okay, now let's take this and put this into this cantata and let's, see how these rhythms work together. You've already learned it. So that's where that idea came from.
I love that. And so you get on the radio show because this is a radio show,
Yeah.
or is it podcast or
No, it's a radio show.
it's radio? Okay. And what kind of topics are you all delving into? You specifically?
So I cover everything. If it's newsworthy, I'm covering it. I
Yeah.
think my favorite show and the show that won me the award was my soundtrack to January 6th show, a show about the insurrection. And during that show, I just literally go through what happened that day from my perspective. So I was in my
Wow.
room cleaning up,
Yeah.
watching the news,
Yeah.
which I don't know why, but I was watching the news that day, and like I just watched what happened. Now I'm from St. Louis. Matter of fact, I grew up like in that Ferguson area, so where the Ferguson riots happened at that McDonald's and that Quick Trip as kids, we would ride our bikes to that McDonald's and to that Quick Trip, like because we lived in that area. And I just said, this just looks totally different from what I saw on my streets.
Mm-hmm.
100% different. And had this been a different skin color that was doing the insurrection
Right.
thing, this probably would have played out very different.
Sure.
And so I talked about that on the show, and I said, St. Louis, like, don't forget that this was us.
Mm.
This rioting stuff,
Yeah.
this was us, and it played out very, very different. And why is that? So I just asked the questions, but I think it was a
I like that. I just asked the questions.
I just asked. You can choose to answer, but I'm just asking why is it different?
Right.
But I put that day to music. So we started off with I think I started that show off with Lovely Day, and then went to like This Is America by Childish Gambino. And then I was like, now it's like Mozart with DSC, right? It's like all kind of stuff going on. It's chaos, and added some Stevie Wonder with Ghetto Village Land.
Yeah.
And I think we ended with the Clark Sisters, Pray for the USA.
Wow.
So all these different genres of music just kind of help tell the story of what was going on. But that's kind of what we do. We talk about different subjects, what's going on in life. This week's show is about New Year's resolution. So I gave everybody your classical music workout playlist, and it got some hip hop classical music in there too, because you're gonna work out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're listening to the classical music station, so I'm on the classical music station. So here's a workout with all these different, kinds of music.
I like that. I also have a tendency to, kind of switch the narrative to how we've defined classical all these years, because classical just means the highest form. So I like to make sure that I put tags, because jazz is also a classical.
Yes. So I did a show about that.
Yeah.
What is
it really? Really? Because we've been taught and cultured into a particular mindset from it. And I just want us to think broader and to teach the next generation of the things that, give us more thought. This generation is a lot more woke than we were.
100%.
And I appreciate where they're going. If nobody ever says it, I appreciate y'all for where you are going. What is something that you have seen in this generation that you didn't see in yours when it comes to the world of music, that they are really taking up, I would say, either on the political realm, on social justice issues? What are you seeing?
This generation, they question everything. They want to know, like, why are we doing this? Why did you program 4 songs about the Lord? Like, we that's not who we are. So why did you program that? Like, they really want to know the why. And so I think as educators, we got to have some answers of why we're programming this or that. I was with a choir a few weeks ago, and I taught, they're working on Precious Lord. And I taught that to them. And I was telling them why Thomas Dorsey wrote Precious Lord, the things that was happening in his life that caused him to write this piece. And I was telling him, I said, even though he was talking to the Lord, to his God, if that's not how you roll, like, this song is not here to convert you
to
Christianity. Right. That's not what this is. So if for you, your Lord is your best friend, or your Lord is the universe, whatever that is to you, that's what you make, that's who you sing about. This particular man was talking about God, but if you got to do something different, that's on you. And the kids was like, I've never had somebody explain a song to me that way, that I didn't have to take on their religious background. I said, I'm not here to convert you. That's not my job. I just need you to sing. I just need you to find a way to connect with this song, so your heart can connect with the person's heart that you're sitting next to. That way all of our hearts connect with the audience hearts, and they get the message that somebody or something is going to be there to guide them when they're going through a rough patch.
It's so interesting to me, though, because, so many of the European classical composers were writing so much sacred works. People just get up and sing it. But
with no knowledge, not knowing that it's sacred.
None. And you are clearly singing about God in these works. and then you give them something that is gospel, and then all of a sudden it's this, offensiveness.
Can't do it.
Yeah, like to it. And I'm so glad that you said that, because I just want you to do the music. Tell them all the time. You don't have to believe. You don't. That's not what we're looking for. Just sing. Just
Just
sing and
sing.
find a space that it's going to connect with you, because somebody in the audience is listening in for all of those connections. Since you went unconventional, would you suggest to the young generation the need of, let's say, not going to college, because that's also an unconventional route in this industry?
Um, I I can't say you shouldn't go. What I will say is, if you don't choose to go to college, you need to go somewhere and be educated, because there's only so much we can learn on social medias and things like that. You need to pick up a book.
Mhm.
You need to read the books. Um,
Right.
I took a class on vocal ped, and after going through the book, I said, if I read this book by myself, I'd have been messed up, because I have no idea
Yeah.
what some of this stuff means without having somebody there to really explain it to me. So I can't say don't go to college. College is not for everybody, but I will say, if you want to be on the higher levels, you have to elevate your craft.
Yes. Yeah.
And one way to elevate your craft is through knowledge.
Yeah.
So going to school or taking some classes with somebody, if you don't want to, I got people like, I don't want to go to school. That's fine. Go find the best person in that field and see if you can take some classes with them.
That's right.
You can
Yep.
learn your craft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's something that's kind of why in my journey, I wanted to learn about all the different styles of music, because I wanted to be a whole musician. I don't want to just be an expert in just gospel music.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say I can teach gospel. Okay, now we're gonna do jazz. Okay, now we're gonna do classical. Okay, and now we're gonna do this punk rock piece, and now we're gonna do this hip hop piece. I want to be a whole musician and be able to do it all and do it all well.
That's right. With
I want to do it all well.
absolutely. So, what birthed the Girl Conductor, as you're wearing this phenomenal shirt? Come on, Girl Conductor. What birthed that? I mean, we could make our assumptions. Let's.
Probably the assumption that you think not seeing girls on the podium. Growing up and going to St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, we used to go there all the time as kids for our field trips
That's
to
awesome.
school,
Mhm.
and always seeing men right on the podium and never seeing women.
Yep.
And I remember in high school, I didn't know that there was a orchestral conductor and a choral conductor. I didn't know that, but I knew that that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to control the music.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to be, and still just seeing men.
Hmm.
And so when I was in school, I was like, I need younger people to know that girls do this too.
Yes.
And so that's where the birth of Girl Conductor came from, just as a way to show that women are on the podium and that we do this.
Yeah.
And so with that, I saw my first black female conductor in 2020, Dr. Jan Taylor.
Wow. That's a
First time I saw a black woman conduct an orchestra. Now, that's not to say that I haven't. I've seen, like, I'm friends with people on Facebook who do it, but I
no.
just never seen them in person.
Not the same. Right. Right.
And so when she got done, this was at Southwest ACDA 2020, right before the pandemic. When she got done, like, I told her, I said, I know you don't know me from Adam.
Hmm.
And I had tears in my eyes. And I said, but this is the first time I've ever seen a black woman conduct an orchestra.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it shouldn't be
No,
that
it should not be that in 2020
2020 we
that
just not seeing us doing
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
I love that social media has allowed us to have this new level of access to people that, when I was coming up, The only access I had was on, LPs, cassettes, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then that was it. Or go to a concert and I'm sitting and I'm able to see you. So I love that social media can do that more often, like this hands-on almost approach. Like you can talk to people, you can like send them a DM and sometimes they'll respond and
Yeah.
sometimes they won't. Um, who are the people that you would love to do either on some like social media networking collab, run into, meet, just be friends, dig down, have conversations, just learn from, sit at the feet? Who's somebody
Oh
that
gosh.
inspires that?
There are so many people. I was telling Dr. Andre Thomas, I was telling him at Southern ACDA, I said we need to have a session where we sit at y'all feet and
Yep.
y'all just tell us.
Yep.
Like tell us everything that y'all been through. Tell us, give us advice of how to navigate this world.
Yeah.
It's different now because all of us now we have, because of social media, we all have platforms, right?
Right.
We
Right.
all have these platforms. We all like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing it, I'm doing this. But it's also great to have guidance. So I would love to sit at the feet and have um our I don't like calling people old. So our aunties and our
Right.
uncles,
Right. 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 Right.
our aunts and uncles in the core world just sit and talk to us about, you know, the game. Like just teach, put me on game, honey. Put me
Yeah.
on. So that, and then I would love to sit and talk with Richard Smallwood.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. I would love,
Yeah.
love to pick his brain. Um, I would love to pick the brain of Dr. Ferdinand.
Yeah. Yeah.
That man there, honey, he is ridiculous.
Something. He is something.
He is ridiculous. And I just he's so humble.
So humble. So humble.
And I'm
That's
like, but you was up there with your one finger conducting, and they were moving right with you. You know, when we was watching you conduct with your finger, sir.
it's amazing, man. He is absolutely. I tell him all the time, Jason, I'm coming into the class, and I'm just going to sit. And he's like, for what? And I was like, because I need to learn. There's so much to learn in just your calm demeanor, because calm doesn't always come off with me, but calm demeanor, and that's important, in those give or takes. Just we and um Andre and Rollo being a close friend, and just there are just so many people to sit and just talk to on so many different levels. And you're right. I wish they would. I was looking through the ACDA booklet, and you're going to be presenting at ACDA conference this year. And I applaud ACDA because this is the first time in so many years that I have looked through the booklet, and I saw such an enormous range of diversity. There is absolutely nothing that you're going to find something as an educator, a conductor, a singer, I don't care what it is, at this particular conference. The only thing that they did not offer was musicians and how to basket weave. That's like the only thing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they did it all, everything. What are you presenting at ACDA this year?
I'm presenting a session about I think it's called Mission Possible. It's talking about like music literacy in the choir room and things like that, because and that again comes from my background.
Yeah.
Because I have been in every music class that I could be in. It bothers me that basic skills weren't taught.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed that I get to go out and talk and meet all these amazing kids all over the country, but I still see a lot of kids who look like me,
Mm-hmm.
who basic skills are not being taught. And so I come up with all these, I think they're crazy, but I come up with all these fun ways of how to teach, like the solfege slide. I came up with it. I said, because when I went to school and my teacher was like, yeah, and he was doing all these hand signs, and I was like, what are you doing?
All these years, I don't even know. I don't
What
know.
are you doing?
I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know the current hand signs.
But so I said, well, if they could, and this is when the Renegade was like, everybody was I said, okay.
Okay, girl.
I said, well, if y'all can renegade, then I can teach these kids how to do the hand signs and I
Yeah,
can do it to a dance. And so, just creating things like that that are catchy, that kids can catch on to, and that they're actually learning.
yeah.
That's what I'll be presenting at ACDA.
I
So come
think,
to my session.
I think that is awesome, and I'll tell you the truth. I wasn't planning, but now I'm planning.
Oh, you gotta come because we got the spades night.
Now, Lord, they take me back to my Howard days, sitting up
Yeah,
all night long, sitting there until I should have been studying 3, 4 in the morning, playing spades.
yeah, but that you don't want to miss the cookout spades night. You gotta come to that. That's that
That's right. That's the whole entire reason, not for
that.
anything else. Maria, I dare say though, for one who taught in inner city schools, that a lot of the teachers, they're not being taught. The kids aren't being taught because the teachers don't know. Because a lot of those teachers are coming out of, although they are schooled, they have their degrees, they're still coming from gospel backgrounds. And I would love to see gospel musicians, as intricate as gospel music has become today. I need to still see gospel musicians take on the helm of saying, I want to really learn what I'm playing. I want to understand the theoretical aspect of what I'm sitting down and I'm playing, and when I shoot out, E7, go to B flat, go to the 5, go to when I shoot that stuff out, to really know and write it and understand it. And then I think that we can actually teach it.
Yeah, I agree with you on some levels, but also that's a skill. Like I said, I used to sit in musicians rehearsal every Saturday and just to watch them go from chord to chord and this passing chord because they was doing it and I'm like, okay, so they passing, this is a passing chord, okay, and this is okay, y'all doing this is this chord, okay, just going through the theory behind it. I think it's something that the classical world should come sit and learn.
Wholeheartedly. When we talk about becoming that musician of excellence, I want them to do it all.
Yeah, come do it all.
Do it all, because the ear, and it's a funny thing, because I'm a gospel conductor, so I got the kids, their ears, it's dope, they're on it, and I'm trying to get them to come to the other side of applying the classical elements to it,
Mhm,
or
mhm.
I don't even, it's not even classical, it's music theory,
Yeah.
knowing how to relate, to see it, to do it, and watch what happens when you understand that, how much further your gift goes when you're just putting all these things together.
But Michelle, I think
Mm.
part of the reason why it got chilling in here, I'm sorry. I think part of the reason why um that may not be happening is because for so many years people have told us that gospel musicians, we're not real musicians.
I think,
Our
yeah,
craft
yeah,
doesn't matter. And um I think after years of hearing that, you finally say, well, okay, you go do you, and I'm gonna sit over here and I'm gonna do me. You know what I mean?
hmm,
And so I think now is the best time, especially with ACDA being as diverse. Shout out to Robin, who is doing her thing as
yeah,
executive director. Shout out to
yeah,
her. But ACDA and then NAFME, who is really working on their diversity and things of that nature. I think now is the time for these big organizations to go back and honor all of these musicians who do it by ear. And
yeah,
then let's take both skills and let's put them together.
yeah,
And let's create the session where, okay, you played it, I scored it. Now let's learn. Now let's read it
yeah.
together.
I'm with that.
You know what I mean?
I'm in total agreement with that. Yeah, and you're right. So hopefully they're online, and if they ain't online, I'm about to send it to them anyway, so that y'all can see it and start getting that rolling. Because you're right. We need to have some sort of bridge.
Yeah, because how can you say that okay, let's just take NAFME, National Association for Music education, right?
Mhm.
All right. So if you only educating on one style of music,
Yeah,
you're not really educating me. I can't go to math and just learn how to add.
yeah, yeah,
I'm messed up if I only know how to add. I can't multiply. I can't divide. I can't subtract.
yeah.
Messed up. So I'm glad that these organizations are now trying to set things straight. And
Mhm.
hopefully it won't take 50 years for us to get this straight. Like, let's go. Like the time we put up all them black boxes in 2020. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. I agree. It's going to take some time though, because you're talking about how many years. I wake up in the morning and I'm irritated with myself because over the course of the pandemic, I did well and lost weight, and then they opened up Crumble Cookie near me, and so I started like on a Crumble Cookie, girl, gained all plate back, and I'm mad at myself in the morning when I wake up, and I have to keep reminding myself it did not take you just a day to get where you are. It took time. And I'm with you. Don't think I'm not with you. I'm with you on the let's go, because now all in education, we're all talking about inclusivity and diversity. And so now is the time. Like ACDA, I give you props again. Y'all stepped up the game. I'm seeing so much in just the representation of the people that you have that are presenting. And I mean, it really is fantastic, and all of the different courses to go and check out. So yeah, it can be done, and I just think that they might need some assistance in call this person in, call that person
Well,
in.
let's go. That's
Here-
what I'm saying. Let's
Mhm.
let's go.
Yeah,
There are so many skilled professional
absolutely,
gospel musicians who
absolutely.
can read and who can score music.
Yeah,
Let's go. It should not be 20 years from now. We still talking about, yeah, we need to work on getting the guy. No,
yeah, no,
let's
I'm with
keep on
you.
going. Let's
I'm
go.
so with you. I am so with you on that.
I'm very passionate about this.
And we need it. We need the people who are passionate. Like, we don't need folk who are just halfway about this thing, because you're right. We've got to make some change. Change is going to happen when somebody makes the move.
Yeah.
That's when it takes place. You make the move, you get other people who will follow, but somebody's got to make the move first. And that might be you, Maria. Sounds like it's a calling for you.
Hey,
You
well,
just give me a call when that happens. Here's I'll be right there. Tell me, sis, what do you see yourself in the next few years doing? You've got a lot of different things coming up on your plate. What's up, Theodore Thorpe?
hi, brother.
Theodore Thorpe the third. And you got a lot of different stuff. You'll be in Alabama and Arizona and Chicago for all my Chi-Town folks. And Georgia and Virginia, and just all these different things. Where do you see yourself going in the next 10 years?
You know what I want? And I'm gonna keep saying this because somebody knows somebody knows somebody. Number one, I want to be on Sesame Street. 100% want to be on Sesame Street, but not as a Muppet. I want to be on Sesame Street, and I want to teach them about music. So
Okay.
that's one thing I want to do. But
Right.
number two, I want a children's television show about music. You know how like Sesame Street was created for Black and brown kids who didn't have access to preschool, right?
Yep.
I want a music children's television show that teaches basic music literacy. That way, if you go to a school like mine, which my school was amazing, we just didn't do that. But if you go to a school that's like mine, at least you know the basics. I'm tired of going to all state choir concerts and not seeing the kids who look like me.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
Yep.
And I know in my state, one of the reasons is the sight reading.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you have the best kids in the state if half the state missing?
Yeah.
You don't have the best kids in the state. That don't make sense. So I mean, like, so finding ways to close those gaps. That's right. We are dominated at the space table. We told y'all that we got that. But finding ways to close those gaps. And if I can use my platform to create, if you can make a show about the ABCs and the numbers and the planets, then I can create a show about music and music literacy. So I want that, and I want a school. In the next 10 years, I'll have a school.
Yes. Speak as you are speaking it. I am in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Those things, because I think they are necessary, and you have the heart intent of wanting to do right, to do righteous difference, to do righteous, and that is why it will come into fruition. I don't know when, because I can't read that, but I know that it will come into fruition because I believe it. What's your life philosophy?
Oh man, my life philosophy. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that.
Yeah.
I'll say, whatever you want, you can have it if you work for it.
Yeah.
You can have whatever you want, but you have to work for it.
Yeah.
If I had let my the lady who told me no at UMSL, I would probably be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at AT&T, and like I said, I made great money, but I was miserable.
Sure. Yeah.
But now I wake up every day and I do what I get paid to do what I absolutely love.
Yes.
And the joy that it brings me, that's showered on whoever I'm working with, because I genuinely love what I do. I love music. I love teaching. I love people. I love making people smile. I love brightening people's day. It's just what I love. So I'm not special in any way.
Sure you are. Stop that. Sure you are.
Girl, I'm no more special than the next person. But I will say that my work ethic is to be great.
Yes.
That is my work. I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And if you tell me no and it's something I want to do, that's fine. That's your no. I'm gonna go around that no, and I'm gonna find another way.
Yes. Okay, so if anyone sits in meetings with me, they know one of the things that I always say when I hear no, I'm like, I'm trying to get to yes. That's it. Trying to get to the yes, so let's figure out how
figure it out. How do we get there? No? Okay. Let me go around the back and see if I can get a yes on the back.
Else.
Yeah. But I've always I realized I've always been like that. Like, even when I was little, I remember in high school, I wanted to speak at graduation. Like, I don't know why, that was a thing for me. I wanted to speak at graduation. So my freshman year, I looked at who spoke at graduation. Well, the school president and the class president spoke. Okay, well, I got to figure out how to be class president. And so I did that in elementary. I wanted to be the school president.
Right,
so
right.
I figured that out. And I was school president in 5th grade. So I always see the end goal.
Yes.
And I said, okay, this is what I want to do. Now let me figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And that's just who I am, and that's what I do. But I also believe that also doing right by people and being your authentic self and being genuine and being kind.
Yes.
And being loving goes a long way. So you can go say you don't want to take the no's, but you can't be mean about it, because ain't nobody gonna fool with you. So
that's right. That's right. No, that's so good. That's so good. One last question. What would you share with the young aspiring musician who, they want so badly to do what it is you do and feel that like they want to be able to live? They want to be able to pay their bills and have extra to take their vacations and blah, 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 blah. What do you say as they are on this path of feeling discouraged, but they know this is where they should be?
Well, again, we all have a platform. So you decide what you do with your platform.
Yeah.
I took my platform and found what was missing.
Yeah.
And then I created what was missing, and then I reaped the monetary benefits of that creation.
From what was missing.
from
Right,
what was missing.
right.
But then again, I also had to work.
Yeah.
So when I came out with my diverse solfege hand signs and whatnot, um I worked on that. I talked to people who were trained in Kodai. I talked to those people.
Yeah.
So I didn't just wake up one morning and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make some hand signs." No, I went talk to the folks.
Maria, quit.
I'm serious though. So I mean, there's a method to if you want to
Right.
be great, you got to go learn. And you got to be good at what you're doing. You can't come out with no crappy products and all that kind of stuff. You got to come out with good stuff that you have studied, that you believe in, and then that you have run this by some experts in that field.
Yeah.
You can make. I think I do pretty well for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working for myself, but I get up and I work, and it's days that I don't feel like working.
Sure.
But I have that drive that says, okay, you could not work today, but them shoes finna come out and you ain't gonna be able to get them. So what are you gonna do, sis? Now I'm gonna get myself up and I'm gonna work. I love my shoes,
I was
girl.
about to say, y'all, she is a shoe fanatic.
I love my
A shoe
shoes.
fanatic. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Me too. We are kindred spirits with shoes, and Theodore Thorpe is one too. So he should be amening us right about right about now.
But I mean, but that's what I would tell people. Whatever you believe you're passionate whatever you're passionate about to do, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And you have to be committed to the work and the process.
Yes.
The process is not easy. It was not easy sitting in class when everybody could count tie, tt tie, and I was sitting there like, I gotta let me do it on numbers. So I learned on numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait a minute, is that right? Wait, no, that's 4. That was humbling.
Yeah.
But I did it and I got through it. And now I teach people how to do it.
How
You
to
know
do
what I
it
mean?
right, in the most creative manners and ways that they can understand, because we all don't learn the same way.
True.
We do not.
True.
And so, I applaud you, sis. I do.
Um,
And I know that I am truly going to be lifting you up before Father, Mother God on a remembering basis, because I can't promise every single day the way my brain is thinking. But when you come to thought, and for the visions that you have, that the Creator is blessing you with, that you'd be strengthened and encouraged in those moments,
Thank you.
because your work is phenomenal. And I'm going to be excited when that school opens. Don't call me to teach, because that's not where I want to go back in, but I will do whatever I can to help you out at your school.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be in there teaching.
She said, no, for real. After 29 years of doing the teaching thing, I love teaching in a different capacity. I don't like being in the school setting. I love to be able to teach the way that I am doing right now. And it's
Yeah.
a joy. It's a joy and a pleasure. And that's what I didn't have when I was sitting in the classroom for.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank
Wait,
you.
before you go, Michelle, can
Yeah.
I say to you, thank you for sharing your platform with me and your audience, and
Oh,
thank you for highlighting all of us musicians. I think your show is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm grateful for the vision that you were given to create this show and to share your platform with so many of us. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. It was definitely not in my doing. God is funny. All right. And we'll have ways of popping in and being like, this is where I need you to go. I just want people to be able to know other people and the work that they're doing, and may the platform just continue to be able to be a blessing to others. That's all I'm looking for. And
Are you doing it,
God
sis?
be praised. Thank you. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. So are you. So are you. To all of my muses out there, I thank you so very much for tuning in this evening, in the morning, whenever you have decided that you were going to be tuning in. Don't forget to go on ahead, like, share somebody out there. They need to hear Maria. Check her out. You can find her on the radio station.
Classic 107.3. So I can send you a link to the SoundCloud for the session.
Fantastic, and I will make sure that I post that as well so that you all can check out Bach and Beyonce. I didn't even get to tell you how much I don't really like Beyonce, but that doesn't have anything to do with. I know, don't do that. Don't do that. That's for another time. That's for another time.
Oh my.
And until then, peace and blessings to you all. Thanks, Liz.